With me is the chairman and CEO of Hays, Alistair. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. I first of all wanted to get a sense of how concerned you were about the economy here in the UK. We're looking at possible interest rates before we may be ready for it. Huge austerity cuts. What does it mean for your business?
Well, if you put things in perspective in the UK, the private sector market is up 27% in our business over the last 6 months. I think that's a very encouraging start, actually. We're seeing an increase in candidate confidence to change jobs. We're seeing people replace employers as they leave. Clearly, the public sector is going through the austerity drive, and that's got to run its course, and that's down something like 36% in our business over the last 6 months. But that's counterbalanced by the growth that we're seeing now in the private sector.
And this, Alistair Cox, is just full-time employment. It's not just a way for companies to become more flexible by hiring Hays to get their people in the door.
It's both full-time, permanent placements as well as temporary placements as well. What I think is interesting about the recovery this time from the recession is it's very much a permanent recruitment-led recovery.
And so employment is going to rise in the next couple of months, because it's still actually very difficult to know exactly where we're going, if we're going to see a double dip or not.
I think that's in the balance, and things will become a lot clearer around April, May time as we move into the next financial year for the government sector. We'll see what the impact of the cuts are going to be sometime later this year.
Now, when you speak to the companies that employ you to find their recruitment, are they concerned about interest rates going higher?
I think everybody's concerned about interest rates going higher. And when you look in this country, the real powerhouse of job creation in the past has been the SMEs. There's about 5 million SMEs in this country, and it's giving them the confidence to start to recruit and increase their headcount. That's where I think we'll see the real uplift in job creation here in the UK.
But how concerned are you for the next year or so? Are people actually moving jobs despite not having a pay increase?
Very much so. People's confidence has returned quite dramatically over the last 6-9 months. Started here in the city, in London, and it's now spread nationally.
And this is what, across all sectors, or is there a sector such as banking that is stronger than other ones?
Banking's doing very well. The city has been doing very well for probably the last 6 or 9 months, but there's other energy sectors, for example, pharmaceuticals, senior finance, insurance. It's quite broad spread now. And
again, it's doing very well, but just because we had a very dire previous year.
I think that's part of it, but as people are getting on with their lives, changing jobs again, then that's good for our business.
For the future, again, how concerned are you about the next 12 months?
We're cautious, but we're continuing to invest in the business. When you look at the international business around the world, it's up by something like 40%. And we increased our own headcount by around 300 people around the world over the last 6 months alone. And while those market conditions continue, we'll continue to invest in the business. So I'm more hopeful about our prospects as we go forward.
Great. It's good to hear. It's actually quite rare that you find a CEO being hopeful in these times. Alistair Cox, thank you so much, the CEO there of Hays.